Welcome to Husker Storm blog. This is my bowl prediction video. Um, so I'll pretty much be going over each bowl game. The BCS bowl games and the Nebraska bowl game I will have a separate video for. You know what? I'm not even going to waste my time with the separate video for the Sugar or Orange Bowl. I will have one for the National Championship, of course, and the Fiesta in the Capital One Bowl. Otherwise, the other three BCS bowl games I'm not going to worry about. But this will pretty much be my breakdown of the majority of all the bowl games. And there'll be a later breakdown of the more meaningful ones and the ones that I actually think will possibly be competitive. Hey, surprise, surprise, AJ McCarron is going to return. Was that in question? No, I'm sorry, AJ. You're not even a... I doubt AJ McCarron gets drafted in the first 3 rounds if he were to go out this year. He's a great quarterback, no joke, but he's not the talent of quarterback that you want to take a risk on. I mean, I guess maybe he could get drafted in the 3rd round. He's better than Greg McElroy. Yeah, he's got a better arm than him, no question. But he's nothing special. But he does do a good job for his team, and that's what matters. But let's get started. We'll start off with the GoDaddy.com Bowl. Kent State and Arkansas State. Both of these teams lost their coaches. Kent State's going to Purdue, and Gus Malzahn going to Auburn, back to where he was an offensive coordinator. Well, it was only a year ago. I believe Arkansas State's a more talented team. I think they're gonna send off Ryan Applin with a great game and a good win over a ranked Arkansas State team. This is a Kent State team that their only loss was Nebraska, Oregon, and they lost to a Western Kentucky team who really actually that Western Kentucky team beat a Kentucky team that Kent State got smashed by. Now you can't really look at bowl games like this, but all my predictions were made before I looked at the spread, so the spread didn't influence my picks at all. I had already made my picks, and I was actually quite surprised. I agreed with Vegas on quite a lot of my picks. Now, there was some of them that I took a risk on. This one was one that I was pretty much spot on with Vegas. I said 30-27, Arkansas State. The spread is a 4-point spread. They've got Arkansas State winning by 4. I'd say take Arkansas State on this one. I'm not going to take the over, but I would take the over. I like Arkansas State in the GoDaddy.com Bowl. In the BBVA Compass Bowl, we got Pitt versus Ole Miss. 2 first-year coaches going at it. Ole Miss, they ended with a bang, beating their rival Mississippi State. Actually, pretty much manhandling Mississippi State. They ended the year really good. They're a lot better than a lot of people anticipated. Hugh Freeze has done a great job there. Pitt, they started off bad with Youngstown. They were able to turn around pretty quickly. They got bowl eligible in the last week. Both of these teams got bowl eligible in the last week. And Paul Chryst did a pretty good job. You can see what he wants to do offensively with that run game like he did at Wisconsin. Now it's just a matter of getting some physical backs and some big offensive linemen. Ole Miss is a 4-point favorite. I really like Ole Miss in this one. SEC team, you got to take them. They're a much more talented team than this Pitt team. I think they win this one big. I got them winning 35-21. That's by 14. Take the over on them. They're a 4-point favorite. Easily take it. I like Ole Miss in this one with relative ease. Now I've got the Heart of Dallas Bowl featuring Oklahoma State and Purdue. Now, when we're gonna talk about the Big Ten here for a second. Looking at the Big Ten and their bowl matchups, they're underdogs in each of them. Now, the addition of Ohio State and Penn State would help. The fact that they they would do a lot better in this bowl season. The fact that those teams are on probation really shifts up some stinky teams, some of the lower teams to play some of the better teams. You know, they're outmatched in a lot of games where this Purdue team would be playing a team that's, you know, 2 bowl spots lower. Instead, they're playing 2 spots higher than they should be. So, you know, it shifted everything around. But this is going to be a blowout, without question. Oklahoma State's a lot better than 7-5. They are a 16.5-point favorite in this one. I'd take the over big time. Purdue's going to score some points. Oklahoma State's defense isn't special or anything, but it has played better than last year. They continue to get turnovers defensively. But I do like Oklahoma State to win big in this one, 56-20. So take Oklahoma State. The Liberty Bowl featuring the AutoZone Liberty Bowl featuring Iowa State and Tulsa. These two teams paired up earlier this year, in which Iowa State won by 15, 38-23. And if you look at the box score in this game, not a whole lot closer than the score actually indicated, but Tulsa did turn the ball over 3 times. They were penalized 6 times. They struggled on third down conversions, and they were out yardage by almost 100 yards. So it really wasn't as close as it looked. But they're facing an Iowa State team who has lost 5 of 7 games. Now this isn't a bad Iowa State team. You know, this team can play, and they can keep up with a lot of good teams. But it's hard to beat a good team twice. And we saw that in the Big Ten championship game. We almost saw that in the Pac-12 championship game. UCLA almost knocked off Stanford. And we saw it in the, funny thing, we saw it with Central Florida. Tulsa escaped the first time around, and they barely managed to escape the second time around in overtime. It's tough to beat a good team twice. This is going to be a really competitive game. This is going to be a good game, a really good game. Tulsa is a 1-point favorite, which is surprising considering they lost by 15 earlier. But I've got Tulsa winning this one. People like the revenge factor here. It's a motivation bowl. Is Iowa State really going to be ready to play a team that they already beat by 15 points? I like Tulsa to win this one 31-27. And that's take Tulsa here. I would take the over in the Liberty Bowl. I think they win this one by 4, 31-27. The Music City Bowl pairs up NC State and Vanderbilt. Now, North Carolina State, they upset Florida State earlier this year, but outside of that game, they have not been very impressive. And this Vanderbilt team has finished on fire. On fire. Okay, now, if you look at their schedule, the last 6 teams they played, Auburn, UMass, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Wake Forest, but they blew out every single one of those teams besides Auburn and Ole Miss. They beat Kentucky by 40. They destroyed Tennessee, who destroyed North Carolina State. You got to like Vanderbilt in this one. They're playing good football. And this Vanderbilt team is, back-to-back bowl games. Wonderful job done by Franklin. And this one could get ugly for North Carolina State. I think they keep it close. But they've got a new coach. You got to like Vanderbilt in this one. Vanderbilt's actually a surprising 7-point favorite, which I guess isn't that surprising. But I do like Vanderbilt to win this one. 31-20. And take the over on the 7. And take the Commodores in the Music City Bowl. The Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl. You got TCU and Michigan State. This is a battle of two. I believe TCU is a top 10 defense. If they're not a top 10, they're really close. Michigan State's for surely a top 10 defense. These are two teams that know how to play defense. They play it rock solid. They've struggled a little bit on offense. They've had some injuries on offense. Michigan State on the offensive line. TCU injuries at running back and a suspension at quarterback. Actually, the player left the team, but nonetheless, both of these teams have found ways to get bowl eligible. Michigan State's the best 6-loss team in the country, and TCU's not far off from the best 5-loss team in the country. And this is going to be a good game. These two teams are relatively evenly matched up, and I actually like Michigan State in this one. TCU is a 2.5-point favorite. Expect this one to stay low scoring. I'll take Le'Veon Bell in probably his final collegiate game. 17-16. I think the Spartans take care of this one. So take the Spartans. Take the upset here. In the Alamo Bowl, you've got Texas and Oregon State. This Texas team has, they are expected to play a lot better. You see glimpses of good games, and then you see them play and they get blown out by good teams. They were expected to have a better year this year. It just didn't come. They're going to be putting in a new offensive coordinator, as their previous offensive coordinator, I believe, left to Arkansas State or Southern Miss, one of those two. I think it was actually Arkansas State. But, they haven't played near expectations. In Oregon State, they outplayed expectations. A team that people thought would be looking for a bowl game at minimum. I mean, at least. That's what they'd be fighting for. But, hey, they were fighting for a potential Pac-12 championship opportunity if they were able to upset Oregon in the last week. They came up short, but a 9-3 season for the Beavers is an impressive year, and they are a 2-point favorite in this one. I definitely take Oregon State in this one. The talent's on Texas's side, but that talent hasn't translated the last 3 years. I like the Beavers, 23-17. Expect this one to stay low scoring. Two defenses that have played pretty well this year and two offenses that have had their fair share of struggles. I like the Beavers. Take the Beavers and the over. The Pinstripe Bowl, which is quite interesting. I believe the New Era Pinstripe Bowl takes place in New York. Bronx, New York, which happens to be where Syracuse is from. Now, it's not played in the Carrier Dome, but it's actually played in New York Yankee Stadium. But, these two teams played last year. Obviously, they were two Big East opponents, so they're common opponents. They know each other. And Syracuse beat the crap out of West Virginia. Syracuse has a knack for beating the crap out of a team at home at one point in time during the season. I think Geno Smith gets his fair share of revenge here. Expect a lot of points. This one could rival the Baylor-Washington game from last year. Two defenses that are completely awful, and two offenses that can score their fair share of points. I like West Virginia 52-35. I think they end up running away with this one in the end. They're a 4-point favorite, so I'd take them, take the over there, and I like the Mountaineers in the New Era Pinstripe Bowl. The Armed Forces Bowl, you've got Rice against Air Force. Air Force is a 1.5-point favorite. Both of these teams come in with 6-6 records, and neither have been overly impressive. They've had trouble sticking with the good teams, and trouble really knocking off the bad teams. Rice especially. This could have been a much better team playing in this bowl game. Instead, we got to deal with a 6-6 Rice team who did end the season off very well. They won their last 4 games to get bowl eligible, and they've got an opportunity here to stay in this one. I think they do. It's going to be a tight game. expect this one to stay low scoring, and Air Force to try to maintain control of the ball and use their triple option game to chew down the clock. I like Air Force 21-17. They're a 1.5-point favorite. Take them, and I like Air Force in the Air Force in the Armed Forces Bowl. We've got the Meineke Car Care Bowl, Minnesota and Texas Tech. This one I'm going out on a limb here. Tommy Tuberville, surprise leave. He left Texas Tech to go coach a Cincinnati team, which is quite a surprise. The Cincinnati. I mean, what are you upgrading from going to Cincinnati to Texas? I mean, from Texas Tech to Cincinnati. I mean, there's not a whole lot of. I mean, there's not better athletes up there. You got the best some of the best recruiting grounds in the country. You're playing in the Big 12. Now you're going to the Big East. I mean, that's mind-boggling right there. I mean, Brett Bielema leaving to Arkansas was mind-boggling, but this one is just baffling. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But I like Minnesota in this one. Call me crazy, but I do. Texas Tech is a 13-point favorite. I like Minnesota 21-20. I think Jerry Kill's going to get this team up. First time they've been bowl eligible, and I believe since 2008, 2009. It's been a while since they've been bowl eligible, and well deserved. Texas Tech is definitely more talented and definitely a better team, but I like Minnesota to knock off Texas Tech in this one, and find a way to get a bowl win here in the Meineke Car Care Bowl. So I take the Gophers in an upset, 21-20. Now we've got the Russell Athletic Bowl. I believe that's a new bowl game, or new bowl name. I don't know if it's played in a new place. Let's see where this one's played at. Features Rutgers and Virginia Tech. A Rutgers team that just missed out on a Big East championship, and a Virginia Tech team that's just awful. This one's actually played in the Florida Citrus Bowl, same place as the Capital One Bowl, which is interesting. And it features two teams that, one exceeded expectations and one didn't even come near expectations. This was supposed to be Virginia Tech's best defense in years, and they're going to have some retooling on offense, but they're going to be able to find a way to play Florida State in the ACC Championship and another chance to go to a BCS Bowl game and get embarrassed. But they just completely fell flat on their face in any game that they played against a good team. And I expect the same here. I like Rutgers. Virginia Tech is a 2.5-point favorite, which surprises me. Now the only opponent that they have besides Cincinnati, who Rutgers barely beat and Virginia Tech barely lost to, is Pitt, which Pitt blew out Virginia Tech and Pitt blew out Rutgers. So, I mean, there's not a whole lot you can look into this game, but I do like Rutgers. They're a better defensive team, and they run the ball well. I like Rutgers 23-17. Expect the upset here, and I'll take Rutgers in the Russell Athletic Bowl. So now we've got the Advocare V100 Independence Bowl. Ohio against University of Louisiana Monroe. Both of these teams were able to pull upsets at the beginning of the year, but they've fallen back to earth since then. Ohio especially, I think they've lost 4 of 5, and they're just not playing very good football right now. I really like University of Louisiana Monroe in a close one. They're a 7-point favorite for some reason. Ohio is not playing as good football as they were early in this year, and neither is University of Louisiana Monroe. But Ohio's going to find a way to get up for this game. They're too talented to get blown out. This one's going to be a close game. I like University of Louisiana Monroe 31-30 over the Ohio Bobcats. Take University of Louisiana Monroe as a 7-point favorite, but don't go under. Don't take the over there. I think they win this one by 1, So take ULM in the Independence Bowl. So now we've got the Belk. What is it? The Belk Bowl. Cincinnati versus Duke. These two teams, I believe this is a mismatch here. Now, Cincinnati's nothing special. Their coach did leave in Butch Jones. They now have a new coach. I'm not sure who their interim coach is for this game, but this is Duke, and Cincinnati's a lot more talented. I'll take Cincinnati 35-24 in this one. They're a 7-point favorite. Take the over. This one could get uglier, but who knows? Maybe the coaching situation makes it closer. But I do like Cincinnati no matter what. Take the Bearcats in the Belk Bowl. The Military Bowl, presented by Northrop Grumman. San Jose State and Bowling Green. San Jose State completely, the first game of the year, you saw them play against Stanford, lose by 3 points. After I saw that game, I was like, wow, how far is Stanford going to fall? And now look, Stanford's in the Rose Bowl. San Jose State, I believe they won the WAC, or they came in second to Utah State. Either way, that was a great year for the San Jose State team, and they did lose their coach, Mike McIntyre, to Colorado, but they're too good offensively to lose to this Bowling Green team. I like them to win this one. They're what are they? A 7-point favorite, which is quite high. But I like them by 10 in this one. I think they win this one 37-27. And they did not win. They lost it to Utah State. Utah State went undefeated in the WAC. Therefore, Utah State took the WAC conference. And the Military Bowl, so you take San Jose State in that one, take the over. The Little Caesars Bowl, you got Central Michigan versus Western Kentucky. Quite disappointing that Central Michigan would make a bowl game over a Louisiana Tech team because of a stupid athletic director who was greedy. And now you got to see this Central Michigan team play against a Western Kentucky team that is that I guess you could say this is an even matchup, but Western Kentucky's a 5.5-point favorite. I like Western Kentucky in this one, 31-20. Take Western Kentucky and the over against Central Michigan in the Little Caesars Bowl. The Sheridan Hawaii Bowl, you got Fresno State versus SMU. Fresno State coming off a good year, 9-3, 7-1 in the Mountain West Conference. Only lost to Boise State. They can score in SMU's defense. It just doesn't have the ability to stop them. I like Fresno State to blow this one out. They're a 12.5-point favorite. I like them 51-17 in the Hawaii Sheridan Bowl. Take Fresno State and the over. And now we've got the Mako Bowl of Las Vegas. Boise State returns to this one to face another Pac-12 team. This time around it's Washington. And this one's going to be an ugly defensive game. Both these teams have their fair share of struggles on offense. And Boise State's a lot better defensively, but Washington's better offensively. This one's going to be a tight game. I was switching between Boise State and Washington, but I like Boise State. They're a 5-point favorite. I'll take Boise State 24-23, but take the under and take Boise State in the Mako Las Vegas Bowl. And we've got the New Orleans, the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. Eastern Carolina University against Louisiana Lafayette. 2 8-4 teams. But if you look at the spread, I liked Louisiana Lafayette before the spread, before I even looked at the spread. And I picked them 38-34. The spread is 6 points. And I'm sticking with Louisiana Lafayette. I like them. In this one, it's going to be a somewhat high-scoring game. And both of these teams can put up their fair share of points. And take the Raging Cajuns in a good one by 4, 38-34. The Poinsettia Bowl matches up BYU and San Diego State in what could be an ugly game. I mean, ugly as in you got a BYU team that's pretty sloppy this year offensively. But a San Diego State team that's 9-3. I like BYU to keep this one close. They're a 3-point favorite for some reason, but I like San Diego State. It's pretty much a home game for them. I believe this one is in Qualcomm. I'll take San Diego State 27-20, and that's an upset right there. In the Beef O'Brady's Bowl, you've got Central Florida and Ball State. Both teams 9-3. Well, Central Florida's 9-4 after their loss in the Conference USA Championship. But if you look at the Central Florida losses, lost to Tulsa twice, and they lost to Ohio State. This team's a lot more talented than the Ball State team. They get the scrums from that Florida doesn't pick up, or Florida State or Miami doesn't pick up, and they put out a solid team every year. I like them to win this one 24-20, and they're a 7-point favorite. I didn't pick them to take the over. I'm taking the under here, but you'd probably be better off taking the over. In the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, you got Toledo versus Utah State, and Toledo went 9-3 this year. Utah State really surprised 10-2. If you look at their two losses, they lost by a combined 6 points to BYU, solid team, and to Wisconsin. And really, what it was field goals. Utah State missed a field goal against Wisconsin. I believe they missed a field goal against BYU. They could very easily be 12-0. They're a 10.5-point favorite in this one. That's quite high for me. This Toledo team's a lot better than people are giving them respect for. They can score their fair share of points, and I think their offense keeps this one close. But I do like the Aggies, 34-31. Take the under, but take the Aggies, 34-31 in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. And the New Mexico, the Gildan New Mexico Bowl, you've got Nevada and U of A. Nevada team that's really hit a bumpy road towards the end of the year. I don't know what really happened. Lost to Boise State a lot closer than the final score indicated. They got blown out by both Air Force and Fresno State. They lost in overtime to San Diego State. So they've lost 4 of 5. And not as good as I thought they were, but this U of A defense isn't anything special, so expect that defense to keep it somewhat close. But I do like U of A in this one, 37-27. They're a 9.5-point favorite. I would take them as a 9.5-point favorite. I've got them winning by 10. Don't take the over here, but don't take the under. It's going to be a close game. I like U of A as a 10-point favorite in the New Mexico Bowl. The Holiday Bowl, you've got UCLA versus Baylor. And this one's surprising by the fact that there is an even line on this one. Given the fact that this UCLA team, I guess they were a field goal away from the Rose Bowl. And for some reason, this Baylor team, who's just awful defensively, people think UCLA won't be motivated for this game, I guess. Which I could see, but I liked him more to get his first bowl win in this one. This is going to be high scoring. Both these teams can put points on the board, and Baylor's defense is atrocious. I like the Bruins, and I think Brett Hundley gets his first bowl win, 55-42. Take UCLA in this one, even though it's an even supposedly matchup. UCLA is still the favorite in this one without question. Take the Bruins in the Holiday Bowl, 55-42. ASU against Navy. Talk about a mismatch. You've got the Kraft Fight Hunger Bowl here. ASU is a 14.5-point favorite. I like ASU just to blow this one out, 44-16 over Navy. Navy doesn't stand a chance here, and this one's going to be ugly. So take ASU in the Kraft Fight Hunger Bowl. The Hyundai something bowl. Hyundai Sun Bowl. You got USC versus Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech team that's 6-7 due to a loss to Florida State in the ACC championship, taking on a USC team that's completely disappointed too. Neither of these teams can play defense. Expect the Georgia running game to have a little bit of success, but not too much. That triple option is going to get contained a little bit despite despite USC's inability defensively to tackle. Really, they're atrocious on defense. But I like Matt Barkley to finish off his career with a win against a bad defense, 52-24. USC is a 10-point favorite. Take the over in the Hyundai Sun Bowl and take USC. LSU and Clemson in the Chick-fil-A Bowl. This is always a good bowl game, matching up a ACC team and an SEC team. LSU is only a 4-point favorite, which is surprising to me, considering the fact that South Carolina beat Clemson by 10, and this LSU team is a lot better than that South Carolina team. I like LSU in this one. I think they take care of business and rather easily. They play well in bowl games despite the national championship a year ago. I like them 41-21. I think they blow out Clemson, and Clemson continues to struggle in bowl games, and it's because of their defense. But take LSU and the over in the Chick-fil-A Bowl. In the Cotton Bowl, this is going to be a good one. You got the Heisman winner Johnny Manziel and Texas A&M Aggies against Oklahoma. And this was a Big 12 matchup a year ago. Now it's an SEC Big 12 matchup. A&M's a 4.5-point favorite featuring two top 15 teams, two really evenly matched teams. Both teams, Texas A&M has a better offense than Oklahoma, but Oklahoma has a better defense than Texas A&M. Both do have their struggles defensively, but both can step up to the plate defensively. And this is going to be an extremely high-scoring game, two high-paced, fast-paced, high-scoring offenses. I like A&M to win this one, 49-41. Take A&M, but don't take the over. I'm taking the over, but I would advise you not to take the over. This one could be really close, and it could, who knows, OU could get a win here. But I do like Texas A&M in the Cotton Bowl. Now we've got the Gator Bowl. Northwestern versus Mississippi State. Mississippi State is a favorite in this one, a 2-point favorite. But they are really reeling right now. They got blown out by Ole Miss to end the season. They've lost 4 of 5, and despite blowing out Arkansas, they haven't done much. Northwestern, on the other hand, they have managed to stay in games against the best teams they've faced so far, and I like them to take care of the Bulldogs in this one and get their first bowl win under what's their coach's name? Pat Fitzgerald. So yes, take Northwestern as the underdog here. I like Northwestern 23-20. Good one. Going to stay somewhat low scoring. Expect it to be in the 20s, but take Northwestern in the Gator Bowl. The Outback Bowl, Michigan versus South Carolina. I like South Carolina in this one. Both these teams display great defenses. Expect a low-scoring, hard-fought game. But I like the Gamecocks in this one, 17-16. I don't think this Michigan offense poses a whole lot of threat to them despite having Denard Robinson. We'll see what Al Borges can dial up. If he can dial up something, I might take the Wolverines in this one, but I like the Gamecocks defense and Jadeveon Clowney to get the job done. They're a 5-point favorite. I'd take the under. This game's going to be a tight game, probably one of the most underrated bowl games, and it's going to be a good one. But take South Carolina in the Outback Bowl. The Capital One Bowl, I'll have more on this one later, features two teams that lost their respective championship games. And we saw a similar matchup between Georgia and Michigan State last year. That was in the Outback Bowl, though. But they were two teams that lost their championship games, and it was one of the best non-BCS bowl game matchups. And it was a great game. Went to overtime. And that was definitely a good one. But we've also seen a Michigan State team a couple years ago who they didn't play in the Big Ten championship game, but they got left out of the Rose Bowl due to the fact that Wisconsin was just better, and they weren't ready for an Alabama team that they didn't play in their championship game, but was obviously more motivated. This is going to be a motivation bowl. Is Georgia going to come out here flat and not motivated? That'd be the team I'm worried about the most. I think this Nebraska team's got nothing to lose. They are. They got blown out in their Big Ten game, so they got a lot to prove and nothing to lose. If they lose this game, it's not going to be a surprise. So they've got nothing to lose, and that's a team you got to be scared about. Georgia, they lost the national championship game. Now they got to go play in the Capital One. I mean, not the national championship, the SEC game. It's SEC championship game to play in the national championship game. Are they going to be prepared for this one? That's a big question. I like Georgia though. They're a 10-point favorite. Take them as the 10-point favorite. 34-24. I'll have more on that one later, though. The Orange Bowl, Florida State versus Northern Illinois. The BCS Buster in Northern Illinois snuck in because of the Big East. You could say it's the Big Ten fault, but really it's the Big East fault. They didn't have a single team ranked inside the top 16. But I do like Florida State in this one. They're a 13-point favorite. That seems about right. I've got them winning this one 27-17. I think Jordan Lynch is going to do a little bit offensively, and I think Northern Illinois' defense is going to slow down that Florida State offense that hasn't been overly impressive this year. But take Florida State in this one. It's going to be a solid game, but Florida State's going to control it for the majority of the game, and I like them to win this one by 10 in the Orange Bowl, 27-17. The Sugar Bowl, you got another mismatch, Florida versus Louisville. This Florida team, really, they got left out of the national championship, I guess you could say, but they didn't win their division, so they didn't deserve to play for the SEC championship, and they didn't deserve to play for a national championship. But they've beat, 4 top 10 teams: Georgia, South Carolina, A&M, LSU. Or not Georgia, South Carolina, LSU, A&M, Florida State. So they beat 4 teams ranked in the top 12, which is impressive. And this is a Louisville team that they beat one ranked team, and they got blown out on national television against Syracuse. Actually, it wasn't on national television. It was on like ESPN2 or something. But whatever. They got blown out. An embarrassing loss. Florida's a 13.5-point favorite. I like that Florida run game just to smash it on Louisville. Teddy Bridgewater's going to struggle in this one. He feels he's hurt right now. Just wait. Just wait till that Florida defense gets at you. I like Florida 31-13. This one's going to be ugly. Don't waste your time in this one. It's going to look a lot like the Cincinnati-Florida game a couple years ago. The Fiesta Bowl. This is a sleeper game. A lot of people think this is, well, it's not really a sleeper game. A lot of people think it's going to be a great game. For me, it's a sleeper game because I think this one could get ugly. The closest team to Baylor that Kansas State has faced so far is Baylor, who rushed for 350 yards on offense, and Baylor doesn't display the speed or the talent that Oregon has. Now, wide receiver-wise, Baylor does have better talent. And yes, Nick Florence can throw a better deep ball than Marcus Mariota, but all around, Oregon's got a way better offense, a way better offensive line, a way better running game, way better talent, way more speed. This one could get ugly, but I like Bill Snyder to keep this one close. Oregon's a 9.5-point favorite. That's about right. I've got the over on Oregon. Take the over on Oregon. I think they run away with this one. Chip Kelly gets back-to-back bowl wins, back-to-back BCS bowl game wins. Take Oregon 43-30 in the Fiesta Bowl. The Rose Bowl, we've got Wisconsin versus Stanford. Stanford's a 6.5-point favorite in this one. You get the 7-5 or 8-5 Wisconsin team against a Stanford team that's really surprised people. They're at 11-2, playing good defensive football and running the ball. These teams are so similar, it's scary. 2 good defenses. Stanford's defense is better, but Wisconsin's offense can be more explosive than Stanford's offense. All around, Stanford's offense has played better all year, but both of these teams are. It's a relatively evenly matched up game. Despite, you look at the records and think, oh, this one is going to be ugly. But no, this Wisconsin team, they've they've been able to put it together offensively over time. We'll see what they can do in this game without Brett Bielema. Let's see if they're prepared for this one. I think Barry Alvarez is going to get this team up, and he's got 3 Rose Bowl wins. He's 3-0. I don't think he wins this one. I like Stanford. but take the under on the 6.5 points. 2017, the Cardinal get a win in this one, and Wisconsin loses another tight Rose Bowl. I believe that's going to be their third straight by 3 points. But take Stanford in the Rose Bowl. The national championship game, you got Notre Dame versus Alabama. I'm not going to go a whole lot on this one. I'm already running way over time on this 40-minute video. It's crazy long. But I do like Alabama to win another national championship. They're 10-point favorite. That's a little high for me. I like Bama to take the under 16-14 over Notre Dame. And that is it for my bowl predictions. Check in. I got a national championship video. I've got a I'll break down conference video, and I've got Capital One Bowl video and a Fiesta Bowl video. So check out those videos, and I've got a video on Pelini, which should be coming up. I haven't gotten to it yet, but those videos will be coming up in the next week or so. Thanks for watching.